It was a terrible snowy day. It was bitterly cold, and the assignment editors wanted to send me out to do one story, and I said, what I really want to do is a story on homelessness in this. And they all went, you don't have homelessness on Long Island. And I picked up the phone, and I called the angel, Gene Kelly. 45 minutes after that phone call, I was standing alongside one of our parkways, up to my knees in snow, in a cardboard community of homeless people.
You don't see those stories all the time because people don't necessarily want to talk about it, but there are a lot of people out there.
We don't see the homelessness. We don't see the poverty for the most part when you live on Long Island.
"40 years ago, a small group of concerned Long Islanders came together and opened the first soup kitchen in Nassau County, and somehow managed in the course of 40 years to also serve over 15 million meals across Long Island and house more than 170,000 people who are homeless."
There's not one day that goes by where there's not people waiting online for food. Or when I get here at 8 o'clock on a pantry day and there's not people already lined up to get groceries.
It's become very clear to me that poverty is a cycle that's very difficult to get out of.
People that work 2 or 3 jobs, they can't afford to live here. I mean, it's very, very expensive to live on Long Island. Everyone that lives here knows it.
I think since the time that I've been here, it's really been an eye-opener to me. When you hear people's stories about how they became homeless, you kind of start to realize that it could affect anybody.
Jean tells us these stories all the time, how like she shared a story at the board meeting last week about a person who lived in a nice neighborhood and just all of a sudden his luck ran out, and it was the neighbors who helped him find the inn.
And quite often there'll be families who come and they're just kind of at their wits' end because they really are struggling.
It's hard to come and ask. I don't like to ask anybody for anything. So imagine you have to go and ask somebody for something. I need some food, I need some clothing, it's hard.
You cannot imagine the things that the inn provide to our guests. Clothing, food, shelter.
The fact that there is a CTC and that there is a boutique and there's a soup kitchen and you could take a shower.
No matter what services we give at the inn, we meet our guests where they are and we help them grow.
How can somebody like that find a job if they don't have their identification, if they don't know how to fill out an application, if they don't have a phone, they don't have access to a computer, they can't even fathom what an email address is? How are they supposed to apply for a job to get help and to start to move along unless somebody shows them?
The guests come to the CTC for help with paying for medication, paying for glasses, paying for seeing a doctor, getting their ID. The CTC has expanded since it opened. We have lawyers that come to the CTC every other Wednesday.
And because I'm an attorney, I found out that there were people volunteering as attorneys doing pro bono legal services.
We have the mobile health van that comes twice a month, and it's for individuals who may or may not have insurance, but they need to see a doctor right away.
Someone has got an ID card, put together a resume, sent the resume out, had to go for a job interview. CTC helped them practice for the job interview, went to the boutique, put on the right clothes, and got the job.
Hundreds and hundreds of people have gone through this, the CTC, the Center for Transformative Change, and not come back.
I really do believe that I'm blessed to be a part of this place, and I don't mean that lightly. This has given me an opportunity to help other people. I've developed relationships with people who are on the streets. He calls me at work probably 3 or 4 times a week, just wants to talk, and it's built a relationship where we're friends at this point. He tells me what's going on in his life, his background, but I have an opportunity to interact with him.
An elderly lady who would come to the window to get food, and every time you would hand her the food, she would say, "Oh, I could eat today, and I'm so grateful." And it made me stop and think, like, she's someone's grandmother maybe. I almost felt like I wanted to adopt her or something. And then I had to catch myself, and I had to remember you can't get attached to the guests in that way.
People think of the inn, they think of the soup kitchen, they think of the CTC, but the inn also has shelters. We have one men's shelter, and at the time that I came aboard in 2000, we had 2 family shelters. When we had new babies born, we would stay up with that baby all night, walk that baby, feed that baby, change those diapers. We would allow the mother to get some rest.
When we moved here over 20 years ago onto Madison Avenue, it was an incredible dream come true for us to find a 9,500 square foot building, which has been the home for the Mary Brennan Inn all these years.
To actually see the Interfaith Nutrition Network grow, that's amazing. I've never been part of anything like this before.
In the middle of 2015, we were approached by the people who owned the building on the other side of us, would we have a use for it? And that literally became the Center for Transformative Change. Behind it is a huge warehouse space which has allowed us to take donations and store items that the guests need.
They were in very close quarters in the buildings that they currently have, the CTC and the Mary Brennan Inn, and an expansion would increase what they could do for a larger number of people.
When it came time to renovate the Mary Brennan Inn, where are we going to put all this stuff? Where are we going to put the pantry room, all the diapers and toiletries, and the clothing room? Where are we going to put all this before we even start to renovate?
When the opportunity for this new larger building of 25,000 square feet became available, it was currently owned by an organization that was a longtime friend and supporter of the inn. And they were in the process of reconsidering whether they had a use for it. At the same time, we were looking to find more parking space. And a miracle happened that when we approached them about the parking space, they said to us, what about the whole building? We'd like to include the building with the parking lot.
There was a secret message that went out. I call it a secret message. It went out and it said, shh, don't say anything, but we are in the midst of purchasing the building right across from the Mary Brennan Inn. What? What? Another building, really?
This new building on the other side of Mary Brennan Inn is actually bigger than everything we had on the existing side, and we have a campus of over 40,000 square feet.
So from the Mary Brennan Inn to the Center for Transformative Change, and the building right behind the Mary Brennan Inn called Sewell, and now the new building 88, we have a campus.
We're already using the space for our newly opened and renovated boutique, which is much larger, and for also distributing pantry items every week, toiletries and diapers. But we need to raise very serious funds to be able to renovate the space so that the Center for Transformative Change can move in here, where we literally are transforming people's lives, as well as the mental health services and primary care healthcare services will also be taking place in this building. In addition to that, we are going to be expanding our workforce development area and do computer classes, literacy classes, and ESL classes.
And it's like a little village almost, a little community of where we can do so much for the guests now. And so I feel like that really has helped people even more. People know they can come here one day, they need food. Another day they need clothing. Someday they'll come for pantry.
And it's remarkable how quickly people are willing to open up their wallets and pocketbooks and join in this great endeavor.
And I have worked in a lot of non-for-profits, but not everybody holds to their mission.
They don't just have a mission statement posted on a wall that people read and talk about. They actually live it, and at any point that you hear, you see it day in and day out.
If it wasn't for the inn, there would be more cold, lonely, terrified people on our streets. And I'm talking about everybody from older people, people with disabilities, people with addictions, to children.
If it wasn't for the inn, I think the homeless population on Long Island would be astronomical.
It's just a matter of happenstance who arrives and stands on one side of the counter or the other. I would like to thank you on behalf of every guest we have ever served here at the inn for your understanding of this fact and your endless ability to give from your heart and from your wallets. You have made a critical difference in the lives of our neighbors who are not as fortunate as most Long Islanders. May you all be forever blessed for your goodness and for your shared faith in humanity. As far as I'm concerned, you are precious beyond words. Please continue to take the very best of care. Be well, be peace, be loved.